Thank you guys all for coming out. This is our first meeting with our new Chromebooks. We're going to be reviewing the budget and the personnel pages on our Chromebooks this year. So it's a big step into the new technology, which is exciting. Let's get started with the agenda. The first thing we have is to approve the minutes of April 18th. To approve them for review? No, approve them, we've already reviewed them.
Right.
So would anyone have any comments, changes, or want to make a motion? Didn't realize it was so long.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of April 18th, 2019 as written.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been first and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right, now we also have the meeting minutes of May 1st that should be reviewed. Would anyone like to make a motion that these meeting minutes be reviewed for May 1st?
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of May 1st, 2019 for review.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second.
All right, first and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. And before we, sorry, Scott, I know
No
you.
problem.
We're almost there, I swear. The next item to talk about is the capital budget committee. And I thought I had the date here. David's not there. All right, well, I guess
It's in March, we know it's in March, but,
we'll come back to that then.
okay.
Since Scott is here and waiting so patiently, let's jump to budget hearings. Let's start with budget 1450 in your Google Sheets. It's going to be the treasurer collector budget.
Is there an easy way to kind of,
So if you hit
Get to
Control
that?
F to find, I'm going to type in treasurer, and it took me right to that section.
There it is, all you have to do is type,
You
start
have to
typing.
type the word or the number.
Control F, will bring up the find box and then type treasure.
yeah, that works pretty well. Thanks.
So that's the beginning of.
Yeah.
Does it reference it by
The number is there after.
the number or just the name?
Both.
Both.
We'll do both.
Yeah, it just
With
searches
this
the
number, that's
document
why I wasn't
for
getting
anything
it.
that matches what
Oh,
you typed in.
yeah.
This one's, oh, I see what we've done. Okay, it's just-
That,
okay, perfect.
oops,
We
wrong one
came up
here,
with
okay?
511.
I found it, yep, thank you, thanks.
So do we have an overall sort of goal this year, usually?
See, so
Is
we
it
read
level
it.
service?
It was asked for
Level
level
fund.
service
Level
this year.
service, okay.
Isn't it level service every year?
Well,
It
it has
has
been
been,
for the
hasn't
last
it?
few years, yeah. So Scott, I'm taking a quick look at your budget. You're looking for $8,420 more than last year, which brings your budget up 2.71%. What are these changes that you're looking at?
The first four lines are my staff, myself. Those are all contractual. The next one is the longevity line, 5140. That's my longevity for each and 10 years. It's an extra $200. And then 5305 is tax title taking services. I'm requesting a $1,000 increase because the recording fees for all tax title takings and releases went up from $78 to $108. So that's a $30 increase on it. So I'm just looking to cover the cost of the recording fees.
Is that enough of an increase? Because if you look at the ratio, isn't it more than 25%
It doesn't only
increase?
go, it goes to this other tax title services.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just recording fees.
Okay.
We have 5 to 15 tax titles a year that we record, so that would cover that'd be about 500, and then we have
Okay.
other things that we record and release too. So
Okay.
I think it would cover it.
All right, that makes sense.
And then that's it for increases.
What do you see this budget needing
Bless you.
in the
Thank you.
next year or two?
Not much. Most of my increases the last year or two have just been postage and fees and things like that. Last year I went up on the data services because he was increasing his cost a little bit, the person that does our payroll. But that was his first increase in a while, so I don't see that going up. So it should be pretty steady.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mo. I know you had a question.
Just summarizing, it's all contractual salary increases.
Yes.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions on this budget? All right, hearing none, let's move on to the next one. Budget 7100, this is debt, the principal debt. I'm gonna do a search for principal. And I'm gonna have to go down until I find budget 7100. Retirement of debt, it's called.
Yep.
Yeah,
Try
you can
putting in
search the
retirement.
number.
There it is.
Yeah, it came up.
There it is,
Yeah.
retirement of debt.
What
Oh, you
number
can
is
just
it?
search for the numbers.
7,100.
Yeah. Oh, unless there's a,
So it looks like this budget's gone
Amount that's
down. It's gone down significantly. It's gone down, 4.41%, but it's a reduction year over year of almost $89,000.
We finally retired some debt.
That's
so-
good news.
Yeah, so we paid off a couple of the school projects that had been out there for a while. Those are all long-term. So the only increase is in the Title V line, and that is the sewer betterment program.
Is that
And
part of the that's something
it's the
different?
MWPAT, the Water Pollution Abatement Trust.
Okay,
That's what the sewer lien program, the town was lending money, and then we'd get a loan. And so this was the fifth loan that just came. We paid out the last of the $400,000 on it, so now we have to start paying it back next year. And so it's $20,000 over 20 years. It's interest-free. That money gets transferred from the people that are paying back their sewer liens, so it's a wash.
okay.
But that's the only increase in that budget.
Why is it going up this year as opposed to other years? This is the first year we have to pay it back?
This is the fifth loan. So we have four that are already in repayment,
Oh,
and then this
okay.
one's just going into repayment
Oh,
starting
I see.
fiscal '21.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So can you just run across that principal line for school? And I can see like requests for 21's $45,000. Is that all to do with debt and loans and, am I looking at the right one?
Yep, so then over, that's the.
It's going down by 107.
And then down 107,000.
Yeah, we had paid off, I don't have exactly what it was, but we had paid off, I think it was two things that came to 107,000. They
Okay.
reached the last year of the bond that we
Okay.
took out.
Okay.
Sounds good. Does anyone have any other questions on this budget?
And Scott, just to be clear, because these are, over the long term, they consider fixed rate, but they're variable a little bit during the course of the year. So we still have to just fine tune these. These numbers may fine tune a little bit, but they're obviously heading in the right direction.
Now, when you say fine tune them before this budget's approved? Oh, okay. All right. All right, not hearing any other questions, let's move on to the next budget. It's budget 7510. This is the interest on the debt.
So
It
it's
should be the
next one.
budget right below it.
Yeah. Oops, I lost my search.
It was right below it.
Control F. So, this
Budget
one's down, too.
7510. So it looks like this budget's gone down significantly as well.
Wow.
It's gone down 9.91%, and it's a reduction year over year of almost $117,000. So what's going on here?
So that's just a combination of paying off some of the other loans, so that interest goes away entirely. And then as we pay down especially the school loan, that the interest is just gonna come down every year on that. And it's such a big loan that it's a large interest number. And then other than that, just interest is generally gonna decrease as we go on.
Are these variable rate
These
or fixed?
These are mostly fixed.
All right, does anyone?
Once we make any progress on this, these loans will be knee-deep in some other new loans. Life goes on.
Always the optimist. It's true,
Doing
though.
better. How's that?
There you go.
Does anyone have any questions related to this budget? Not hearing any. Let's go on to the next one, which is budget 7520. It should be just below it. Again, the interest on short-term debt now.
And that's just one line.
Oh, these are the bands, right?
It's the band interest. So that is the variable interest rate. Right now, the rates, the one that we just took out in December, like beginning of December, we got down to like 1.5%.
Whoa.
After it was at 2.5 a year ago.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but it's the way the economy, everything's really variable right now. So,
Well,
and
it says
gen-
you've spent year-to-date 46,000, I mean, most of the budget. And that would have been through December. Do you have enough money for the rest of the,
if
fiscal
I have
year?
a little more money in that line, I try to pay down some of the other debt, the principals, so that we'll reduce interest in the future.
Okay.
So I try to spend that line just to reduce debt, no matter what.
will you go over 50,000 this year?
Not in interest alone, no.
Okay. All right, anyone have any other questions on this budget? Anybody have any other questions for Scott?
Nope, doing a great job.
It's good.
Thank you.
Exactly.
It can't be this easy.
That was easy.
Come on.
No, that
We
was,
gotta-
that was good report. I'm
Well-
sorry. When do you ever see anything go down 9%?
Right, that's true.
Well, we never hassled John. I mean, you know,
Well, we
you make
try.
a presentation, good presentation, the
You
numbers
did
are
fine.
there, and
What's bands again?
The
Bo-
short term.
Bond anticipation notes, so those are the short-term ones.
Okay.
So we take out one every year.
A year?
Yeah, and you have 10 years to pay down something that you take out in the short-term note. So generally, you have to pay down at least 1/10 of that.
Every year.
Yeah,
But do we tend to pay more? Is that why?
if possible, yeah. That's the band's line is in 7,100, and so if possible, we try to pay things off.
Now, when you're thinking about, you know, paying this down and paying, where does that money come from? Money that had been allocated last year, or?
It's in the
But
It's in the budget, and then it was money we took out from articles that were approved at town meeting.
Okay. Okay. So you move it around.
Some of it, yeah. Going out to the bond market for long-term debt is
Yeah.
very expensive.
Yes.
So we do it when we have to, when we can group things together.
How do you predict all of that?
It's not my job, that's the financial advisor. And they're constantly, every month, they send out a report showing what other cities and towns are getting for interest rates and the size of their,
I
so.
mean, in terms of how much money you'll need going forward, is that just based on what advice they give you? Or?
Yeah, they're really good. Do you mean as far as what we're gonna have to borrow, or?
it's kind of defined by all the budget of the whole town, really.
It
Wait,
doesn't
wait.
come out of one bucket, though, somewhere. It's various buckets that you're using to,
Most of
Pay
it
debt.
goes into the debt lines.
Okay.
The water has their own debt lines.
All right,
That's,
yeah.
that's one thing that is
right,
separate.
right,
But the school and the town stuff's all together.
okay.
All right, not hearing any other questions. It sounds like Scott's all set for this year.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Scott.
much, and thanks for your patience.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Sorry it took us a while.
Have a good night.
You too.
those were good.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, he did
We haven't been
observe
taking
some
on a lot more.
more. I know.
Yeah, not since the school.
Did we want to talk about the capital budget? Do you have
Yeah,
the
what was
date
the
for the
date?
capital budget
I do
meeting?
not. Let me ask Dave real quick.
This should be my email.
Left, Dave left with him, and there goes the date again.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
How's things? Good, good. Everything's good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Let's see here. You don't know the date of the capital budget committee, do you? Do you know the date of capital budget?
No, I'm not putting in for any this year,
Capital
so.
budget meeting hasn't been scheduled yet. He
Oh.
said there should be about 2 meetings in March. He is not exactly sure when.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You go to the right act to follow. His budget, just the guy that just left, is going down, so.
That is not a way
Going
to
down in a
introduce
good way.
friends.
So now you're threatening the chief with it going down. I'm really
Just
just
giving him
happy.
the information. But we're in a good mood.
Yeah, but see, his has to be,
It's different, yeah.
No pressure, though.
No pressure at all.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything is good.
All right, let's get everybody onto the budget. Budget 2,100.
There it is.
Look at this, all these
Search for 2,100.
phone books. Where are we going here?
It makes it a lot easier.
It's the future.
2020,
Paper, it's going too fast.
2020, trying to save some trees.
You get notes gone.
I know. My nose.
Now we just
I
can't
should
get
bring my
rid of
laptop. I
batteries.
feel
You
out of
have a
place.
spot. You
I
have
know.
a
I feel
spot.
out of place.
FOMO,
Huh?
fear of missing out.
Yeah, I'm missing out over here.
That means-
Because I know you're all like playing like the games on it, but I can't see or nothing.
It's easier to write than.
And we're over here playing solitaire.
Sending each other messages.
I'm doing a tax
Getting
return.
on YouTube.
I'm Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush, yeah. So what I usually do, I don't, whatever way you want to do it, I usually just go over the ones that are, you know,
The changes.
there's any type of more than the normal, because the budget, as you all know, they wanted to put in a 2% increase for union negotiations. So you can see my negotiation didn't do
Yep.
too well. I only got 2% too, so.
Clerk salaries are up 7%.
Yeah, she made a step after 10 years, which is 5.10 plus the 2%. So it's she made a step. So there won't be a step next year. So that's the only increase on that. The other salaries, I know,
But yeah,
Go ahead.
but how come the custodial salaries, they don't get an increase?
because custodial salaries, I do increase them sometimes, some years, but it's not a union position.
Okay.
Oh.
So they don't even get a raise? I mean,
Not every year. She does, you know, I have increased it a little bit over the years, but not, you know, crazy and.
Is it an outside?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not contractual, she's not a company, she gets payroll each week. She works 10 hours a week.
she's not a town employee.
Well, yeah, technically, I
is?
would say she's a town employee.
She's just not unionized.
She's not unionized, not yet, we can't let her in the union. She's been here since 2008, does a great job, you know, and somebody tried to steal her. We won't mention any names, town hall, but that's
Well,
not.
you know, you're not gonna, I mean, you know, here we are, we're supposed to protect the budget, but let's think about the individual. So basically, she's earning less money next year because she's not getting a raise and prices are going up.
Prices are going up for what?
Life.
Life, yeah, oh yeah, but
Gas.
it's a part-time position, and it's a good part-time position. And like I said, I have increased her hourly wage. I think I did it maybe last year, I can't remember, you have to look back to the last budget years. Last year was probably the same budget, but the year
Actually,
before, I
the
think it was
prior
less,
year,
right?
Fiscal year 2000, it was $14,040.
Oh, that has to do with the number of days in the
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Okay.
number
Okay,
of
so
workdays.
can you go back to, not last year, the year before? No, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we would
Not
have
yet.
to
So
do
we're
that.
But I think
Someday.
I think I increased it that year, $1 or $2, so it was it's not like a 2%. So believe me, I take care of her. She does a nice job, and it's not like she gets a 2% raise. It's kind
Would
of,
you say it's market rate?
yeah, oh, it's definitely market rate. You know, and she's not complaining, and she's not coming to me, and she's not afraid to ask for.
Is it salary or hour?
She gets so much an hour, but she only works 10 hours a week.
So is it
So it breaks down.
to about?
It's I think, it could be 25 or 27, I can't remember. Because she gets $540 bi-weekly, so $270 a week. So 27, I think it's 27.
Pretty good.
Would that be?
And I think she started with us at 20 in 2008, or somewhere on there. So it's a pretty, like I says, she's never asked me for more money, but I have given her more money over the time.
So
I'm
is
not
she
gonna-
listed on personnel benefits?
I'll give her a raise if the finance committee wants me to do that. I'm more than willing to do that.
Should be asking if she's watching this.
You know, and she is a resident of West Bridgewater.
$27 an hour is pretty good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's not the right answer.
It isn't?
The answer is that if she makes the same salary one year to the next, she's actually earning less. because
I agree with you,
Yeah,
but
cost of-
there are times where she's getting $1 or $2 increase an hour, and that percentage is quite high. So if you spread it over the 4 years, it's really not. She's actually got the money earlier than if we did the traditional 2% and 3%. So,
$1 or $2 an hour all at once.
on a
It's pretty
20, right,
big.
exactly, it's quite a bit
Present dollars
different.
are more valuable.
And right, and it's because it's only $10 hours a week, so I don't do it at 2% every year. If I did 2% of the year, she'd be less than what she is now, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So,
I don't see her listed on the personnel sheets. Is that different?
Hmm?
I've never looked for her before either. But
Personnel
The,
sheet.
I've never done a personnel sheet, and I've never done a personnel sheet because of her, but she's she's a town employee,
there's a
so we should
personnel
actually.
sheet would list all the officers.
Yeah, I know, but I've never put her on the list of that. We've always put her just on the,
This is very disturbing to
custodial,
me.
because prior to her, it
Change,
was.
a little exchange here.
Prior to her was contractual. We put out to bid like a company.
Yeah.
And when she started, they gave her the option to do it as a company or do it as an individual. So, and you're right, I've never actually put her name down and put it on it. We could do that. I can actually put a little note here to do that. Doesn't hurt, it's better off, it shows it to you guys.
It's more transparent.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, no, I have no problem with that's easy. I mean, I never thought of it. Like I says, she's been here for so long and
Sure.
contractual before. We never had an actually person just doing it for her.
So is the 64,000, didn't we put a new position last year? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
you did.
Was it a
That's
school
right.
officer?
The resource.
What are you talking about, the permanent salary
Yeah.
line?
Yeah, the 60.
Well, that's only up, right, that's up a little over 3.33%, and that's because the 2%, which already is into the salary, plus there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 people going to steps. So that increases it a little bit with some steps.
Oh, so that's not a position, that's just.
That's the permanent salary line for everybody.
Yeah, I'm looking again at the personnel sheet. It shows 2 open positions.
Right, because we only had one, and we lost a police officer. He went to work for Brockton as a firefighter. So we're now trying to fill it. And we had another one just about filled, but some issues with the background, some issues, so now we're trying to create another list to put 2 more on. So we were like 1 step forward and a step back. So presently, there's no names for those, but that will be, shortly, that will be
Where are you
changed.
finding the personnel sheet?
That's the PDF. We
So
keep
you have
jumping
2
back
open
and forth.
Okay,
Page
just
Jump down.
19.
Use your left and right key
Is that correct?
to jump ahead.
Yes, right now we have 2.
I was just on police, I
Oh, I'm
thought.
sorry. Then, what do you want me to do?
Other salaries.
I said,
Sit up.
looked, is this
Other
it?
salaries.
Others-
Gonna tie in
Yes.
here.
Okay.
Other salaries is all the matrons, the crossing guards, and dispatchers that we've been increasing. That originally, when I started, was 30,000. And then I'm sure some of you remember is that I tried to do a 4-year increase in those, 40,000 each year to get to 160, so we can have full, complete coverage. You know, we did the first year 40. The second I tried for 40, I got 30. Last year, we didn't get any. So in this year, I've increased it. I know it's at level services, but I really want the 40 to get back to where we get to 160 in that account for dispatches, but I put 13,000 in there.
So you lost me throwing those numbers. around.
Yeah, really.
All right, well,
40 and 60.
back
in
a few years.
FY 17, we had $30,000 in there. That covers the
Which budget line are we
matrons,
talking about?
other salaries.
Other salaries, okay.
5119.
So FY 17, we had 30,000. That covers crossing guards, matrons, for that budget. That's the budget I put the money for the dispatchers in.
So you can't put any.
Okay.
So then FY 18, that went to 70,000. So, because we wanted a 4-year, $40,000 increase for the dispatchers. FY 19, it went to 100, and only put 30 instead of the 40. And then FY 20, we kept it at the 100. So we didn't make any increases to get more bodies for the dispatchers. And this year, I really wanted to put the 40 in, but I even felt bad putting the 13 in because it's level services, and that's really not level services if we do. So the 13,000, if we want to go to level services, would be removed, and then this would be about 3.04. But I really would like to get it back on track so that we get everybody I get police officers off the desk. It's hard for me to pay a police officer the amount of money for a desk when I'd rather have them on the street.
So what would the $13,000 do?
Probably, it'll give me another guy about half of the year, you know what I mean? So, right now, we
You
presently.
say another guy, another dispatch.
Dispatch.
Yeah, and not a full one,
Right.
because right now I pay them $20, or average, because of different shifts. You know, they only work 16 hours a week, because I don't want them over 19, because if 19, then we
Go
go
into
into benefits and everything else. I'd love to have full-time people, believe it, but the way we're doing it now is actually working for us.
$20 an hour you pay?
$20 an hour, 16 hours a week. And we have multiple part-time people, and I keep them because most of them right now are younger, and they want to become police officers, so I allow them to go to the PI Academy later on, and they make some money doing details. So it's a win-win for us. We get them 16 hours a week, and they get the opportunity to make a little extra money. And get some
you get to know
experience.
the individual, and it's a possibility that it's a career path for them?
A lot of them are going to be all police officers at one point.
Okay.
And yes, so
Because that's value in it.
we're presently doing a backgrounds now, and two of the individuals on the backgrounds are presently some of our dispatches.
okay.
Yes. And what it does there is it gives us a chance to look at all these people too and see if they fit into the team, see if they fit into being able to multitask and do this. You sit in on that desk, it's the hardest job in the police department because it goes crazy. At one point, you're looking at 9 screens, 911 running, which has 2 screens, the alley screen showing where the cell phone call is coming from. I mean, and then, so there's a lot going on. So if they can multitask and do that, and we get to know the individuals that they're a good fit for the department, it's a win-win. Because before, we had specials, and all they did was details. Well, details really don't do anything for me. If I can't fill them with our guys, I call other people and they come and work over here. I changed that, is that our specials now have to work 16 hours a week. So what it does is it gives us 16 hours at, I'm not gonna say a cheaper rate, but they're also able to go out and subsidize making really good money doing the details. So it's a win-win. We get something at a decent rate, they get to go make extra money, we get to see the individuals, we get to vet these individuals to see if they fit. We can't lose. And we're getting something for having them, instead of just saying, oh, they're going to do a detail, because it does nothing. So it's a really good program. I really would like to hire, some retired, not police officers, some retired people that want to work a few hours a week. That would be a good fit, too. Because then they can make it, and some people like to be still in that workforce, like that camaraderie and like that team, the family feeling that we have. That would be great too. But I'm having a little trouble with that end of it. But
So how many hours of a police officer's time are you freeing up with?
presently right now, it's 6. So you figure, well, in my head, so 6. So you're talking 12 shifts a week. We have 21 to cover. So we were doing 12 out of 21. So the other 9 shifts, police officers sit on the desk. I'm trying to work with the fire now to do, because I know he's having some issues with callbacks and what have you, I've told him that we will do fire dispatch. I have all the capabilities because of the new consoles to do fire dispatching. So I told him if the dispatcher's on the desk, the 9 hours, when they're there, and I'll give them a schedule, they can dispatch for fire, answer fire phones. We answer 90% of the calls anyways, because 90% of fire calls are coming in through 911.
Yeah.
And we handle all the
Seems so
911.
much more efficient to have one person or one dispatch desk.
Yes, it absolutely is. But like I said to him, I can't do it on the other shifts because that's police officer, then we got change of work conditions and we have a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's a whole, an issue.
But what this allows is more people on the road. You know what I mean? And for, very little money. You're taking that guy's making a lot of money off the desk and bringing him out onto the street.
And doing
Where he's
what he's
more
supposed to be
valuable.
doing.
Right.
And I have this argument with a couple of chiefs that say, oh, police officers do a better job. No, the individuals. I got dispatchers that blow away some of the guys that do the desk.
That's a special skill.
Yeah, but it's a person you hire. I mean, I don't put on just because I have a uniform means I'm going to be a great dispatcher. It doesn't mean that. But like I said, the programs work really well because, like I said, we keep them under the 19 hours. We're not getting into,
No benefit.
and I'm not saying that's going to happen forever because
Right,
we may
right.
not, but right now it works out. It's the best bang for the buck that we get. And that's really why I wanted to get to that 160. I don't know when we can get that 160. So if you're voting on this and you want to up that line a little bit more, that would be great. But like I said, I felt even putting that in there, level services, we're really not level services. I'm trying to get a little more there. The other line that shows, where were we now here?
Uniform.
Longevity. The longevity's up 15%. That's only $1,800, but it's just because some of them are getting a bump from last year. They hit another step there. Allowances, stipend is actually going down $1,400. It's actually only, it's those two positions that are open now. There's a cleaning, $700 cleaning that they get in September, but it goes to the prior year. So they're gonna get hired late. They're not gonna be entitled to it, so I took it off of this year. But next year, when you see the increase of 5.36%, you'll know that it's just because I had those two people. So hopefully you can remember that. So next year, we'll go back to the. We'll
Putting
go
in the
back up.
notes now, so I remember.
Yeah, put a note. Municipal building repairs, I upped it $1,500, and that's 50% up. $3,000 to keep up the building is almost impossible. It is impossible because I've never stayed within that guidelines. And I'm kind of proud of it because we keep everything repairable. We don't wait till it falls apart and it costs triple amount of money. Any one of you are welcome any day to come walk through the station. If you walk through on day one in April of 2008 and you walk through today, you won't see any difference in what the building looks like. I paint a certain section every year just to keep going through the whole building. I have like a 5 or 6 year plan that just goes through the whole building. And we replace things before they get to the point where they're causing other issues.
Good idea.
You know, I had to replace a pump, a circulating pump for our system. I mean, just that alone, I think was like $2,200. So I just upped to the $1,500 just to try to keep in place. It's really not enough, but at least it's a little bump. Telephone, last year I paid $10,900. That was a pretty much fixed cost. We're hoping that'll go down with some of the issues we're trying to resolve with some of these old phone lines, but that's just to cover costs. Uniform equipment, I went up in that because we're gonna have 2 guys go to the academy. The first year when they go to the academy, the amount of extra equipment I have to buy for them is very expensive.
Is that the 4,500?
Yep. The training expense has actually gone down, and the training expense is kind of a weird line because we have to put money in that line. When you go to the academy, it costs $3,000 to go to the academy, the town's cost. So every year, I have to put money in there if they're going to the academy. Last year, I had to put $9,000 in there to repay people, because per the contract, once they've been there 5 years. See, what happened is, we pay the $3,000 for them to go, and then over the next year, they pay it back. They pay the town back $3,000, which goes into the general fund. Then, if they stay with the town for 5 years, complete 5 years, we pay them back the $3,000. So last year, I had to pay 3 guys back their money. So, and this year I have 2 guys going, so it dropped. Instead of 9, it's only gonna be less than 6. So it went down. Next year, I'm not sure if guys are hitting the 5-year. That probably will go down. Next year, that'll probably go down 6,000.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anybody hits any things. And we're trying to work out how to do this. They put this in place years ago when people would come here and work, get the academy. We pay all this money for the academy. They'd be here 2 years and they transfer out. So what they did is, it was happening quite a bit. So they said, well, wait a minute here, we're gonna make you, we'll pay for it, you gotta pay for it, and if you stay here 5 years, we'll give it back to you. It's just
A way
kind
of
of incentive.
retaining, yeah.
I don't think we really need that in a contract anymore. It's difficult, it makes my budget go up, because the $3,000 that we pay, that gets paid back, doesn't go back into the budget. So, like, last year, I had $9,000 into this budget
Yeah.
that's out of my control. So, I think it's, the youthfulness is gone for that situation. We're working on that as far as, we'll go into contract negotiations now. So that's basically, it goes up, like I said, 3.4%, 3.48%, and unless you increase the other salaries lines, or if you decrease it to 13, it actually goes to 3.04. So it doesn't go up very much.
So someone goes to the academy, right, say a dispatcher.
The
That's-
dispatcher doesn't go to the academy. You can go to the part-time academy after.
Who goes to the academy then?
When we hire somebody for full-time,
Okay.
we pay the 3,000 up front for them to go. Then, like I said, when they graduate, they start deducting from their paycheck, and it goes into the
So-
fund until $3,000 is paid back.
You hire off the civil service list?
Yep.
Okay, that has to be.
Yep. The part-timers, the dispatchers that go to the part-time academy, we don't pay for that anymore. I killed that. They have to pay for it on their own. They have to go on their own, and if they get out, and I make them do the dispatch program for a while, make sure it's a good fit, then they can do details. I then ask the board to appoint them as a special.
How much does that cost them?
That's the part-time academy, the fee is about, I think, 12 or 1,300. But it's a long class, it's like 3 nights a week, all day Saturday.
Wow.
So it's a lot, it's a big commitment, it's like 5 months, 5.5 months. So
Wow.
it's not like, yeah, it's a long time. It's a
And
real
no
big commitment.
guarantee.
And well, there's no guarantee or anything because it's a part-time thing. So they go to that, they can now, if they're appointed as a special, they can work
Do the
details.
details, yeah.
But then they go full-time, they gotta go back
Yeah.
for the full-time academy. They don't have to go back for a half one, they gotta go back for the full one.
So I don't know if I have wiped out some numbers here or something, but the last two lines look a little funky to me. So
Which one?
you
Last two?
have, service contracts, mobile and stationary.
They're staying the same.
So they're staying the same.
So there's no
27.5 to
increase.
27.5.
27,500 and 5,000. So
how-
it's staying
Yeah,
the
well, I
same.
meant to across the line, I'm sorry, I was reading across.
But on the equipment one,
Yeah.
you spent 43,000 and now it's down to 5,000?
Well, the 43,000 was this year? I haven't spent 40, last year.
19.
19.
19, yeah.
Yeah, last year, we bought leftover SUV,
Oh,
2018.
okay,
for the
okay.
equipment line.
That's what was.
Which, the savings on this is gonna be, is substantial for the, buying those leftovers. I've been, I know people beat me up about it, but those savings on those cars gonna save us about $21,000. The old cars are 28, the new ones are 37. The new ones don't fit any of the equipment in them, so it's additional $12,000. So it's $21,000 savings on each car. So,
And you're not putting in for anything with capital
no,
budget this year?
because I got one car out of the warrant article, we got one car that I was able to buy, so I bought the 2 leftovers late. I haven't put them into service yet, I'm waiting to rack up some miles. One's just going into service soon. But, like I said, it was a saving of $21,000 per car,
Car.
you know?
That's significant.
It is.
It's a lot of money, you know, and
And to not have to bring a request to capital budget is huge, because you expect to see a car a year or something
Yes.
along that line.
well, like I said, I knew that they were changing the body style of the SUV, so I went and there was like, when I called them, it was like 22 left, and when I decided it was only 3.
Oh, wow.
So other people think of the same thing, and like I said, it's $9,000 difference, because they went to a hybrid or a mixture, I don't know, but the new price is at 37, and I bought it for 28. And it's about 12,000, because I can't transfer it,
You can't transfer.
because they made it shorter and they made it wider. So, everything in it is,
Weird.
and they do it, you know,
It's business.
They know what they're
Yep.
doing.
know
yeah,
it.
they know what to do. And no one can get the cars now, so they're having big problems getting them, so it would be an issue. But I stored them in the mechanics bay, so they're indoors, so there's no issue, and like I says, you know, I'm just waiting. I'm not just throwing them out there and getting rid of the other cars, the other cars are still going, so we'll let them go, and then I'm trying to put them in late spring, or, so it's almost like the same, but we save some money. So that's the budget.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions on anything with this budget? All right, we're not hearing any.
K-9.
Let's move on to K-9, 2920,
Nothing there either.
is animal control.
There's no change, you know.
There's no change.
No change to it. It's the best deal in town. We had to put out the kenneling bid again this year. We had a 3-year one, and it expired, and we put it out again. There is some increases, some fixed costs in it. When they did the original one, we guaranteed 75 days of kenneling. We had to guarantee 100.
Oh, wow.
And
Are you meeting these thresholds during the year?
some years we do. You figure one stray, okay, that doesn't get picked up, it's 10 days, because by law, you gotta keep them 10 days. So, so we're talking 10 strays, 10 days, that no one picks up, you're right there. I
Right.
think last year, the year before, we were way over. There was 75 days, we were way over. Last year, I don't think we hit the mark. This year, right now, I don't think we were, because
Yeah,
the guys do a
it's
pretty good
really
job. They
low.
keep it and they post it on social media.
Yeah.
And then, because we don't just grab the dog and bring them over there, because then it's gonna cost the residents, pickup fees, kettling fees, so we try to put out social media, and you'd be shocked how quickly
Yeah.
it gets
Oh,
spread,
yeah,
and
very
then they pick up
passionate.
dogs. So
Where's
the
the
guys
dog
keep it,
in the meantime? at
we
the
have a
station?
kennel, we have a small kennel in the garage.
Okay.
Sometimes they just let it keep around dispatch. I mean, it depends on the dog, but they try to keep it here for a few hours so the homeowner
Yeah.
can, and they have lists, they can go down and say, okay, what type of dog, whatever. They get picked up pretty quick. But then, a few years back when we went over, they actually, people were actually dropping off some of their dogs in West Bridgewater because they knew.
Because they knew the program
Because
you had.
the program we have, that I have with the deal with they do 10 days. Then after 10 days, we no longer have to do anything with the dog. It's either euthanized or, in the euthanizations, or put to a adoption. And it's $125 to euthanize. So what I said to the kennel is, listen, we'll put that same money to an adoption. Because either way, so that really helped getting these dogs adopted out, because now that money is charged to them, and they give that money to the place to take care of the dog a little longer.
Nice.
So it's worked out very well. I think one year we went over.
It looks
on
like you're
budget.
way under this year,
Yeah.
at least through December.
Yeah, but you say, and they got a dog yesterday that doesn't appear, as an older dog was out, so that, you just don't know.
Right. There's no
And
way
most of the payment, like I said, will probably be made in June, depending on, because then I have to pay, if I only use 30 kenneling, I have to pay her 70
Uh,
additional, so that'll, go up but it's still a great deal. And a lot of this money, they pick up the dog if it's not, and they go there and they pay the bill. So, and then that money gets brought to the town clerk. So I don't know, so say that the budget's 85 and we spent 6, there's a possibility 2 or 3 or 2,500 was returned to the town by
Someone paying.
somebody
us
paying,
fees.
because if somebody picks up the dog and goes to the thing, they pay the pickup fee. And I
To get
think
their
the
dog.
contracted with them is $75 to come pick the dog.
Wow.
$22 or $25 a day. So say you're a homeowner and your dog got away and you didn't see social media and took you 2 days to figure that out. When you go there, you have to pay the fees, and those fees get returned to the town.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know exactly what the figure is coming back. I wouldn't know that, but
Oh, that's great.
it works out really well.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Does anyone have any other questions on this budget?
Oh, look at
Or any other questions for the chief?
That's great.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a great
Thank you
night.
very much. You too.
How are you?
Oh, fancy.
Fancy. Color coded.
I like my meetings.
Flurry. What was it? I was just trying to answer. What?
Color code my meetings.
God dang dog.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dog has short hair and stuff.
White
you guys like me to
white
call it
Pyrenees.
recess?
You have a white Pyrenees. Oh, those are so
Luckily, it's a
cool.
hoarder
Came
shape.
early, huh?
Shorter hair, but thick,
John
so
Delaney.
that
Yeah.
goes into your sweaters,
Yes.
Oh.
They're beautiful dogs, though.
Yeah, he is a good one. We like
Hey,
him.
John, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, and it's budget 1710, everyone. How are you, John?
I'm fine, thank you. And how's everybody else?
A number one.
Great.
It's not snowing, so we're good.
That's right.
Hasn't
Actually, I
been
have a
great.
husband very unhappy about that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, I could understand that. I
He
could
wants it
understand
to
that.
snow, he loves it.
Good luck with
It's his
that.
thing.
All right.
What's his nickname?
All right, budget 1710, conservation. John is back here with us. How are you doing?
I'm fine. So before I get started, I was ribbed by some people that saw my presentation last year on how much I appreciated your work and all that, and they thought I was buttering you up. So
But you can do it anytime, we're okay
I
with
really
it.
meant it. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm not going to say how great it is that you do all your work and all of that. So that
Yeah, you
they
don't
can-
need the comments on Facebook.
Nice.
All right, so I submitted a summary sheet, and I hope everyone's had a chance to see it. My budget for the Conservation Commission, and you'll notice that I also stuck a stormwater program logo that I came up with
I have this
on top.
Yeah, I want to make sure I have what it is you're talking about.
summary sheet, maybe Linda excluded it from.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw
We've
that
got
maybe
the
in the
budget, but-
personnel thing.
You don't have a summary?
No summary.
Was it in your minutes?
No, it is. Conservation Commission and Stormwater Programs.
Where did you get that?
It's in the personnel sheet.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Got it.
What
So it's budget 1710. It's in the
How do you find
PDF.
it in the personnel sheet?
What page?
I just scrolled
It
down.
is
be-
page
I don't see
60.
page numbers.
Page 16,
Oh, yeah.
okay, good, thank you.
Got it.
Sorry, John, we gotta catch up.
All right, that's quite all right.
Oh, it says you increased the salary 2.25%.
So what the,
That's
both
for
the
you.
appointed official, which is the agent, me, the clerical salary, which is Kitty Doherty, and the other salary is the stormwater payment that I get for doing the stormwater work, as well as the conservation work. All of those amounts are raised by contractual. I'm on my third year, last year of my 3-year contract. So it's all by my contract. And Kitty is being bumped up from her, because of her step raise from the, if I put my glasses on, I'll see it better. Step 7 to step 8 due to her many years of work for the town. So those are just the contractual ones. The rest of them are, except for longevity, is a little bit higher because last year it was prorated on my 32 hours working for the town, and now I'm working full-time, actually 1 hour more every week than full-time, but now I get the full amount instead of a prorated amount, so that's the difference there. The other difference is in the equipment replacement, and I'm proposing that raise it up to an even $1,500 so that we can purchase field testing equipment to test the water quality coming out of the outfalls. That should be sufficient, but if we get some hits, we may have to do some lab work, and that would be a little bit more. So I'm hoping that the bottom line budget that we are allowed to use will, if I have some excess in some of the other lines, I can do some lab work if I need to with that.
So the lab work's under equipment replacement. Was that what you just said?
Well, it would be the field test equipment where you.
Oh, okay, okay.
And if I have to do a lab, I might have to take some out of the postage or office supplies or one of the
Gotcha,
others, but,
gotcha, okay.
because I haven't got a handle on that yet, so this year we'll get a better handle.
Yeah.
All right, looks very straightforward. A lot of, it's all by contract, really.
Yes. And I tried to leave the rest of it alone, except for where I just pointed out.
Yeah, a $54 increase, that's no problem. So your budget's up 3.65%, a total increase year over year of between 3,000 and 4,000. Does anyone have any questions about this budget? What do you see your department needing in the next couple of years?
a full-time administrative person. She only works 18 hours a day.
Oh, a day.
I'm sorry.
Poor thing.
Only. Can't get any more out of her. No.
Simon Legree.
Yeah, 18 hours a week. And it really, we are staffing the office better than we have been in the past because I've adjusted my hours by, I don't have any obligations as Board of Health Chairman over in Halifax anymore because I resigned so I could do my Wednesday nights and get some more hours here. But the administrative part, I'm doing administrative, trying to do the technical, trying to do
Yeah,
the...
that's not the best use of your time.
No. So I could see that happening, and depending on how much longer she wants to work for the town, if it's not too much longer and we could hire someone,
They'd be at the lower
somebody
step.
new at a lower rate, we might be able to stay right in the budget and still get full
4 hours.
full hours for
Yeah,
the
more coverage.
department. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Space?
Oh, I'm trying by scanning putting
Excellent.
everything into electronic files and getting rid of the paper.
Good.
So the mess that's there is starting to slowly get cleaned up. And then we should have some
Should be
space.
all right.
Do you have the proper equipment to be scanning and saving all of these documents?
The scanner that's in the Board of Selectmen's office, we use that, and I use it probably the most, and that's great. And the small copier machine we have, it's a little slow, but
Okay.
we may have to upgrade that next year.
Or get a heavy scanner. I know that's what our office just did. We've got a big heavy-duty scanner just for moving forward paperlessly.
More efficient,
Yeah, yeah.
It is a little slow, and it starts squeaking when we use it a little bit too much during the day, so we give it a rest.
Might
Be
be
able to
something
get
to
a
consider.
multifunction device that could do that for you, copy, print, scan, and fax. I mean, we use that at work. We scan on it constantly, and
Yeah.
it handles such an incredible load.
Oh, we have a great one that sits on the desk. It does 75 pages a minute, front and back. It's fantastic. Everything we have goes through that scanner.
So we
And it
require
turns it out
the,
in a PDF, right?
we have instituted a requirement that all of the applicants' engineers submit everything electronically with one hard copy so that it can be reviewed without having to print it out or look at a small screen. And then the other scanning we're doing is just going into the old files, purging them, and making space. So that's what most of the scanning is old stuff, not new.
You're archiving things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a requirement similar to other boards that you have to keep paper copies of archives of any of your records?
It just, I guess the EP's policy is that we have to have one hard copy of everything, according to the wetlands regs. Other than that, there aren't any other requirements, other than
good. Okay.
what we have instituted.
Good, good. So that really helps going a little more paperless.
Yep.
Good, excellent. Does anyone have any other questions? Sorry, I've been monopolizing the conversation here.
What's that?
All right, that's it for budget 1710. Let's move on to the next one, 1715, which is the Open Space Committee.
All right, there are no changes. We had discussed at our last meeting whether we should ask for any increase, but the committee is so active, excuse me, it generates donations by the activities that we're doing, and so they haven't had to ask money from the general budget other than what this amount is here. And they use that as a means of having the courage to tackle something, knowing that they've got $950 behind them. And it turns out that we're getting a public kayak launch down at Pratt's Landing. And it's over $4,000. And that was a grant, but the Eagle Scout did all the work to get the grant. and he's going to use his fellow scouts to help construct it. So that's the type of thing, we get contractors who will donate funds so that we can build something or services that are equivalent to the amount. So that's indicative of the enthusiasm that the members of the committee have. So we're really thankful to have.
It's been a very active committee.
This amount.
Yeah, they've done a lot of good things.
Right.
I may be way off base, but would the open space funds help at all with the playground that's going on?
No, the
If they
playgrounds,
have to be completely separate?
yeah, the playground's being funded through the CPC funds.
Okay, all right.
So the money's already coming from a,
All right, I didn't know how that was working out.
We might be able to buy a swing.
Right, I know, it's not a big budget, I just didn't know how it fit with the, you know, how it was, things were structured.
but you do have my accountant's brain running. When you're saying that you're collecting donations, do you have like a revolving fund for this committee? How does that work?
Yes, the selectmen, after we asked, the selectmen allowed us to have what we call a gift account, which is a revolving fund.
Okay, I
And the money,
didn't realize your committee had one.
the money
That's
goes
great.
in and we expense it out. We have an expense number that corresponds to the gift account, and we pay out of that if we have any expenses.
Oh, great. All right. Does anyone have any other questions on this budget?
No.
Well,
Sounds good.
hearing none, I think you're off the hot seat, John.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you.
Same here.
The next one we're looking at, wastewater treatment.
Yeah, that's an error, that's not tonight.
Okay. Cross that out. So the next one we're going to is budget 5410. Hi, Marilyn, how are you?
I'm doing
Hello. How are you?
Thank you. All right, budget 5410.
I know, it's
Okay, there it is.
PC, it's like you scroll. It's the opposite
I know the
direction.
mouse, the touchpad's opposite.
Yeah. When you scroll, you think you're scrolling
Oh,
back,
oh,
but you
oh.
scroll the
Looking
other
at the
way.
council,
The opposite direction.
looking at the council on aging budget, it looks like it's up $8,800, which is 2.88% over last year. Marilyn, can you tell us about the changes?
Sure. The majority of that is in salaries, and the first few lines of the compensation, personnel compensation calculation sheet, they're all contractual. Also, Wendy.
It's page 33 of the PDF.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. And also, we continue to raise those that are making under what will become minimum wage very shortly. We're bringing them up slowly to get there. So if they, at this point, if they decide to leave and get a job for $15 an hour, we couldn't hire somebody for $15 an hour. So
I
we're
see.
trying to keep them.
Keep it at a market rate.
Right, right. Other than that, we've gone up, so I didn't bring my ruler here, 20% or $300 on equipment repairs and maintenance, and that is primarily for keeping the generator running. We've had an issue this week, and so we just want to make sure that we have a little bit in there in case we run into that. Being an emergency center, we've got to have to have the generator going. Office supplies have gone up $200. That's sheer volume of work that's going out of there, and printing and that sort of thing. Dues and meetings, I have extra training in there for one of our grants for our supportive care coordinator requires her to have 3 trainings per year, and that's not been in the budget before, so we're looking for trainings for her, as well as the outreach and shine.
Now, is that extra
Coordinator.
training that you want, or is that required? Sorry, I just
It's
wanted to make sure I
required by the
understood.
grant that we have, and we don't want to lose the grant, so we try
Right.
very hard to.
Right.
To keep that.
Just to make sure I noted
Board, right.
appropriately.
And also, the Shine coordinator is somebody that really needs to keep on top of things for the insurances and whatever.
Mhm.
So I'd like to keep that open for her as well to attend more trainings.
So this is what you need to maintain the level of service you're providing right now. What do you see your department needing in the next couple of years?
An addition.
An addition in what way? A
Well,
person, a building?
Building, right, it won't happen. I understand that. We
Yeah.
can't go up, we can't go out. However, from 2018 to 2019, we saw 6,000 more people
Wow.
walk through the door, 40,000.
Oh, I love when you come with statistics.
I know you do.
New people or?
Not new people, no. This is,
Just
this
that many
this
more
is
visitors.
duplicated people. If you came through the door yesterday and tomorrow, you'll be counted twice.
And lunches.
People
and
are just coming
Lunches.
more often.
Right.
Everything is gone sky high as far as our numbers.
That's
What
good.
period of time was that?
1 year,
Oh, 1 year.
from this time in 2018 to the same time in 2019.
And why do you think that is?
I think that we do everything really in a way where we attract people to our programs. We have a lot of new programming going on.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with our outreach
Mhm.
program and our nutrition for sure.
Now, are you seeing a lot of West Bridgewater residents, or are these people from surrounding towns coming in?
Both.
Okay.
We still maintain maybe a 70% West Bridgewater,
Okay.
but
There's that many from out of town.
Yes.
I didn't
So
realize
someone from out
that.
of town could just come in for lunch? Is that how
Sure.
it goes?
Sure, give me your $4 and you can have lunch.
I didn't
Sure, we don't
realize.
turn anybody away, especially those that need an outreach, because a lot of the surrounding towns don't have the outreach department that we have.
So if you can't have the building expanded, what else will your department need?
Another building.
Well, I
They're a
think,
victim of their own success.
Well, yeah, how do we manage this? How do we
Well,
give you what you need and provide the residents what they
we
need?
could probably schedule things differently. Right now, there are a few days where we have supportive care in their room. We have that new conference room, and we now have programs in there. It's not just a conference room. And then we have the dining room. And those are our 3 program areas. And they're all working at the same time. The doors open, people leave. The doors open, people come in right behind them. So it's fun. It's really, we just put out a suggestion box, and I'm curious. I can't wait to see what comes in it. And I said, please,
Oh.
positive only. But we're looking forward to serving them even with more services.
That's a great
and
idea.
Programs.
It's a great way to get suggestions.
Yeah.
Do other towns ever limit to residents only that you know of? No.
So it's common for people to
Sure.
go town to town.
Sure.
I didn't realize
If
that.
they like the meatloaf over here, they'll go Monday and Wednesday. If they like the hamburger going on over there or the chicken, they around all the time.
Oh, no kidding.
Better than cooking it.
They go as far as Middleborough.
Yeah, you can't limit it anyway, because it's all taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
The public building.
Yeah.
Taxpayer dollars and granting, don't have any limits on that as well.
So should you stop cooking so well?
Not everyone has lunch, though.
Not everyone, but we can, we had a sandwich and french fries yesterday, and we served 54.
Wow.
And then Monday, however, we had roast chicken on the bone with mashed potatoes and vegetable, and we had 98.
Wow.
Bigger seller.
Oh, yeah.
They tell us all the time we can make a sandwich at home, and they want
Oh,
their
yeah.
bigger
Yeah,
meal
yeah,
at lunchtime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So we try to
That's true.
provide that, and we have a nutrition grant as
Getting
well.
ideas here.
Yeah.
You're all welcome.
$4.
David comes over every once in a while and has a meal with us, and,
Of course he does.
yeah.
You do, but she charges me $5.
It should be.
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you have revolving accounts as well for this.
yeah,
How
a
are
lot
your
of 'em, yeah.
revolving accounts doing?
They're all in the black, and we're doing very well, and I just got my formula grant came in, and that helps with some of these salaries. The nutrition has their own grant, so a lot of the money comes out of their grant for their salaries, and the formula pretty much primarily is for outreach and outreach. We have 2 people in outreach.
How's it going with the nurse? I think that's maybe not part of your budget, but I
That's the
think
Board
you
of
had
Health,
some
yeah.
statistics
Yeah, it's the
on
Board
it.
of Health.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
She was the one that was able
Oh,
to
yeah.
give us the
Yeah.
information
Right,
of whether it was
right.
working or not.
I can tell you that we have health screening right here on my, this is my annual report, by the way, and I just kind of did a comparison between this year and last year. And in 2018, she saw 441 clients, and in 2019, 506. So it's
Wow.
increasing.
That's gone up like
Yeah.
15%.
Yeah.
See, she had the stats, that's why. I remember that.
I do remember he was sitting right here and asked me
Yeah.
last time.
Well, don't let John think he's getting off without telling us. I just want to make sure that's out
Yeah,
there.
we'll check his numbers, make sure they match. We already got the information.
Congregate meals, we served 7,864 people in 2019.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That is great.
Meals you serve?
Meals, yep. Oh, and we'll one step beyond, I love this stuff. One step beyond, home-delivered meals. We went from 4,287 to 6,454 in
You
2019
deliver
for
them?
home-delivered
You have
meals.
volunteers to deliver those, right?
I have one paid on that, and that's part of the formula grant as well. And
Okay.
then his wife, he drives and she runs, and then she might
Really?
drive and he runs, yeah. And it's so beneficial to us because they will come back and report, so-and-so didn't answer the door, they didn't answer the phone. We
Really?
have no indication they weren't supposed to be here. And so we'll go over and try ourselves, our outreach people. And if that doesn't work, we'll call for a wellness check.
Wow.
And we've done 3 of those in the last month.
Wow.
So it's so
Meals
important.
Great
or
service.
different?
Meals on Wheels, yes.
It's the same.
You get grants for that.
That's fantastic.
Yes, we get the meals for nothing, and then we pay the driver. And we have a little,
Meals come from
meals comes from.
somewhere else.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It looks almost like your old TV dinner,
Yeah,
and
it
they're
does,
fresh.
yeah. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fresh. I mean, they're nice meals, but they can just pop them in the microwave and have a hot meal.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
needed,
my
the social,
my
the
mother-in-law
social
used to
piece.
get those, yeah.
But it's so important because, like I said, if somebody doesn't answer the door and if something's not quite right, we're not allowed to enter the home. But they come back and report it to us, and we report it to Old Colony as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Does anyone have any other questions on this budget or other questions for Marilyn?
Thank you for your good work.
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
thank you for the
Thank
you.
statistics. That's great.
Yes.
Congrats, yeah,
Numbers.
that's a great
I know.
job.
I remember that. Thank you very much. I'll have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Marilyn.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, next is the agricultural commission.
So I'm gonna handle all the rest of the budgets, they're all small budgets.
Oh, okay.
If it's okay, what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna, they're all level funded, they're all small.
Yeah.
I'm just
Have a
gonna
level
read off the
here.
numbers,
Yeah.
and then if you guys have any questions. Agricultural Commission is level funded at 600. Women's Place Crisis Center will be level funded at 2750.
Did they get their money? Do they request it and they've been getting it?
Brockton Area ARC, we level funded 250. Old Colony Hospice Care, we level funded 2,000. And Plymouth County Extension Services would be level funded at 200.
So which one went up?
None of them.
No,
They're
no,
all-
oh, okay.
They're all level funded.
What is extension services?
The Plymouth County?
Yeah. Farm, agriculture?
Correct, it's similar to a 4-H program. And we have a handful of West Bridgewater students who go down every year.
All right. Anyone have any questions on those budgets? All right, then we should circle back to item number 3 on our agenda, the Capital Budget Committee. I know in the past, it's been myself, Jerry, and Mo that served on it, but my understanding is you're not going to be able to this year.
I'm retiring
From capital budget.
from capital budget and from work.
Congratulations, woo, woo.
Oh, that's a big step. Good
That's
for you.
huge.
Heading to, well, we winter in Florida, so we're heading to Florida tomorrow, I am. And I'll be back on the, full workout's coming back on the 15th. I'm coming back on the 19th, but they can't see this, so. Because Monday's a holiday, so why am I coming back on the 15th? And then I'll have 6 days to go, and then I'll be done. working. So we winter in Florida,
Congrats.
and that's the whole
Good for
deal.
you.
So I'm going to be
fantastic.
You
doing,
have a date? Yeah.
No, I'll have to send it out.
so I'm going to be doing the rest of the meetings this year. If you have a meeting between the 19th and the 27th, I'll be here, but after that, I'll be in Florida till the end of April.
So it was approved in the bylaws that she can participate remotely. She's just not going to count towards the quorum.
Which is there, because I think that's our biggest issue, is getting a quorum with 9 members.
How do you do that?
And especially with some of us not being
Like
able
a
to.
conference call kind of thing.
I'll call in,
That's
somebody's
what
going to
I
have to have
think
a
Oh,
phone.
phone, yeah, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
You got your computer, so.
Yeah, I got to find out.
So Jerry
how to
cannot
get it.
participate in capital
So I can't-
budget.
Yeah, I can't participate in capital budget.
But we don't know when it's going to be.
It's 2 days in March, it's usually the middle of the day. They're usually a week or two apart. We come in, it takes about an hour, hour and a half sometimes.
Right now, I'm available, so.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so.
don't know if I'm going to be, I've got to have an operation at the beginning of, or the end
Oh,
of
no.
February. so
I'm sorry.
Depending on how that goes, I don't know. I better not.
Commit.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can try to do it. I have to check with work to see if I can get the time.
I would love to do it, but I don't dare.
But I need to know the dates.
So I will say with 95% accuracy, I believe it is Wednesday, March 11th, and Wednesday, March 25th. The March 11th date, normally we get together, it's usually around 3 o'clock, and that's when you hear presentations. We don't know how long it's gonna be, because we don't know if we'll have one presentation or 30. Right. We just don't know. Usually, as Mary said, an hour and 15 minutes or so is what it takes. The March 25th meeting usually is about 3 or 4 o'clock, depending on what works best for the committee. That's usually a shorter meeting, because you spend those 2 weeks individually doing your homework and your research and all that. And then when you come back on the 25th, we just go through and we take the votes. So there's usually no, I mean, it's a public meeting, anybody can be there, but usually nobody else is there. And we just sit around and then we debate and then we take votes and we're done. And so, half hour?
Yeah, it doesn't take very
Yeah,
long for the
it doesn't
second
take
meeting.
long.
That should work out fine if you want me to do that.
That would be great, yeah, we need 3
That'd be great.
people.
Do we need so many members on it, or?
I know we typically do 3.
Okay, but there's no requirement.
There is no
No.
requirement. The selectmen set this up. They set up many years ago.
I remember when
And-
Beth set it up,
Right.
yeah.
And so is 3 finance committee members, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that way a good portion of you sees everything firsthand, and then you could bring it back to the committee.
Mhm.
So I can confirm that for you tomorrow, but I don't really anticipate any problems.
Yeah, I stuck it in my calendar, so now we're stuck with those dates.
Well, that's why April 16th, right?
Yes. And we have an invoice too. This is the Association of Town Finance Committees. If I remember, this is the one we all have to sign.
That is correct.
Yes. Oh, I have 2 here? Are they the same thing?
No, I think,
Oh, this is the one for the computers. This is the one for,
Yeah, there's one for the mouses, one for the computers, and then one for those invoices.
so there's just the 2.
So this,
Mices.
The mice.
just to make sure this saved all along, I don't have to like do a separate save.
But did it save on hers, or did it save across the board?
Just on
No,
her.
just hers.
Oh, okay. That was, we were told different. David.
Yeah,
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 she's
so
gonna
there's
work
some
on
things
it.
that
Saved in
I have on a
Drive.
list that
Okay.
I'll have to work out with
Okay.
Linda and talk
Yeah.
to you about too.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So the first bill I have is $116.55. This is office supplies. This is the mice for the Chromebooks, and we all have to sign this. Would anyone like to make a motion? That
Make
we
a
approve
motion, we approve.
payment for the mice and $116.55.
Okay, do we have to do them individually, or?
No.
No, thank God.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So, any opposed? So moved. I'll pass this around so everybody can sign it. Please make sure you sign them all before leaving tonight. The next one is $180. This is the Association of Town Finance Committees. This is a dues and meetings expense that we have every year. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve $180 dues and meetings.
Approve.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. We all have to sign this one. And then this last one is for the purchase of the Chromebooks, $1,636.82. We have most of the money in our budget. We have gone over, so we will have to do a transfer before the
Wow.
end of the year. So $1,636.82. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this bill?
I'll make a motion to approve the bill for the Chromebooks.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. Let's make sure everybody signs this one too.
How short are we on the budget? Just
Couple $100. Sorry.
Doesn't look good when the finance committee goes over there.
It's the Chromebooks. And they must have emailed me 2 or 3 times to confirm, okay, we're spending this money, you're giving us the
Really?
approval.
Really?
Yes, yes, go ahead. So it was very official.
So where can we get the overage from?
Probably our reserve, income reserve, or if there's another budget at the end of the year.
$7 for a grand?
That's not bad price.
No, yeah, they're cheap.
I mean, I don't know how much they even cost.
I know.
Probably a couple $100 a piece.
Yeah.
I'm
They're
on
getting-
Black
they're getting-
Friday.
Yeah, they're getting pretty
Now,
cheap.
let's see, I know our next
we have a
meeting,
revolving fund
They're getting
somewhere?
pretty cheap nowadays.
our next meeting is Thursday, February 20th. You will not be here.
I will be here.
Oh, you will be here.
The
You will not
20th.
be here.
I will not be here.
So we need everybody else so that we can have a quorum. Does anyone have any other business to bring before the committee? You're not hearing any. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you so much.
Thank you.